Hello, my name is Sasha with Ray of Hope, Reiki, and more. This is our spiritual message of the day. My plan wasn't to go live all the time, but here we are. Good morning. How are we? It was kind of hard to come live today, not gonna lie. And it was because the spiritual message kind of has me in my feelings. But what do I say? Like, you need to feel your feelings. Your feelings are valid. So whatever, I'm coming on to share the spiritual message. And it's probably gonna be really scattered because this one really did affect my heart a little bit this morning. And we're all on different paths in our healing journey, and yet most of the stuff applies to everybody in some form or way. So just know that you're not alone in feeling your feelings, because I feel feelings too. I'm still healing too. Again, we're using the book A Year of Positive Thinking. I got this from Santa and from myself, but I labeled it from my hubby because that's how we do Christmas. But January 16th, this one was interesting. And then I was trying to find stuff like stories to apply to it, and I didn't want to find a poem because I'm already in my feelings. I don't need a poem for this. And then like it was giving me things that I was like, no, it doesn't work. Anyways, this one, the title is You Can Begin Again. January 16th, you can begin again. There will be times when you've come as far as you can, when your heart is broken open and you see no way through. Like, just the first sentence, I don't know why, but I did just start my cycle, so maybe that's what's happening. When those moments present themselves to you, sit quietly, courageously, and feel what you feel. And then, and only then, let go as gracefully as you can. Grace is knowing for certain that you will inevitably be hurt again. Why? No. And knowing just as certain that you are strong, you are resilient, and all of it will make you more beautiful. It is only through our brokenness that our light can shine. You will begin again. I was already kind of posting stuff in my stories about the beginning again and not holding yourself back with beginning again, or not thinking it's too late to begin again. And then I posted a song in the VIP group, and it's not because I was sad. I wasn't sad until I read the spiritual thought of the day. So don't be worrying about me. I'm just like feeling my feelings because of the spiritual thought. So I'm going to say it one more time because a couple people hopped on this side. There will be times when you've come as far as you can, when your heart is broken open and you see no way through. When those moments present themselves to you, sit quietly, courageously, and feel what you feel. And then, and only then, let go as gracefully as you can. Grace is knowing for certain that you will inevitably be hurt again, and knowing just as certainly that you are strong, you are resilient, and all of it will make you more beautiful. It is only through our brokenness that our light can shine. You will begin again. So then I was sitting there this morning and I was like, well, like, begin again. There's no, like, have I had a lot of begin agains? So I asked Troy, because he was groggy though this morning, and I asked him, and I was like, what are times in your life where you feel like you began again? And he was like, oh, well, maybe when I joined the military. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then it was like, maybe when I got out of the military. And I was like, oh yeah, that was rough. And then it was like, and then maybe when I had to let go of my family. And I was like, oh yeah, we're still going through that. But then I was like, holy crap, like I didn't even think about how many times in life have we began again. Like it makes me, I know I've got tissues somewhere. Oh, here. Because this is the room where I do my healing sessions. But like, this spiritual thought has me so much in my feelings because there are so many times in life we've began again. And I'll give for instances of these times, because maybe you're like me, you're like, I haven't began again a bunch, you know, life's been lifing, but I get through my transitions and my challenges, and it's life, right? But the first thing when I was like reading through the stuff was like, one of the things that can happen emotionally that makes us begin again is losing a loved one. And I'm not trying to I'm trying to laugh so you don't cry. But like, you think about how many times you've lost somebody that was near and dear to your heart. And even like it was talking about, even like animals are like our family. So like people and animals, friends, people who like, you had to begin life again through a grieving process of losing them. So I've lost a couple people that I feel are significant to me, and I would say emotionally I had to learn to live without those people again. So yeah, that's a begin again. So we've went through those things that are begin agains. See why I'm in my feelings? Like, why? This book is stupid today. And then I wrote a list because I knew I was gonna forget. Ending of relationships. I don't know who's asking. Oh. I'm live, Val. Relationships. So relationships in your life, like friendships break up, if you've had like, I don't know if that's Lent or Spirit. Loving, like love relationships. What word is for that? But breakups, where you've had breakups, you've had to learn to begin again without that person. If you had friends that stabbed you in the back, because we're women, most of us that watch my stuff are women, and we get a lot of women that end up coming out and we're not actually the best people for us. And so we had to begin again after those relationships. And like beginning again, like we'll never be the person we were when we go through those transitions again. Like when we like, you know what I mean? Like I'll never be that person again that was when my grandma passed away, like that changed me. I'll never be that person again after I lost friends that stabbed me in the back. Like, those are begin again moments. Like, how many times, like I feel like when I sat down and wrote the list of all the things that could be begin agains, oh girl, don't watch this one. You're doing good. Don't watch this one. Get out of here. This one's emotional. Don't watch this one if you don't want to be in your feelings today. I'm supposed to promote emotional healing, and this one's rough. This one's got me in my feelings today. So those are things that have changed us, and we'll never be those people we were back then. So loss of a loved one, ending of relationships. If you think about, a lot of us suffer from depression, anxiety, and like mental health issues. So when we go through those mental health lows and then we come back in, those are also begin agains, because we learned a lot in the low, and then we came back up, and then we tried to be a better and different person and a better version of ourselves, and we'll never be that person again. Yeah. I purged last night bad, so maybe it's needed. Jen is here saying that. I feel like I begin again every morning because of my depression and anxiety, especially during the winter time, because we don't have that sun to help us. And then somebody also said begin again sounds like Dark Night of the Soul, and it does. It does. Begin agains. That's what Troy, when I asked him, like, have you had begin agains? Like, you don't really think about it. If I just said, do you feel like you've started over or began again in life? Like, you could be like me this morning and be like, nah, I don't really feel that. And then I talked to Troy, and he was like, oh, well, this time was probably in this time and this time. And I was like, holy crap. I have had so many transitions of begin agains. Like, so many huge transitions that changed me, and I am a better person today, but like, these were rough beginning agains. So serious health diagnoses was another thing. Like, when I was going through my health crisis, I don't know, I've been doing this for 3 years. So I feel like 4 or 5 years ago is when I started working with doctors, and I had a bunch of lymph nodes in my body, especially in this region and this region, and I do have them in my legs too, behind my knees and stuff. And so of course you think cancer, and then I had a lot of tests done, and then we even removed the lymph node that was right here, and like, nothing happened with it, but yet my tests are always a little bit off. And then I saw the specialist in Blackfoot, and he helped me get on a bunch of vitamins, and like taught me a lot about how to holistically heal my body. And I know that if I saw an autoimmune specialist, like, if I wanted to fight for a diagnosis, I could get an autoimmune diagnosis pretty easy, but at the same time, I know that I wouldn't take medications. Anyways, what I'm saying is, like, that transition where I was walking around, I couldn't go upstairs, I was avoiding physical, like, anything physical, because if I went down the stairs, I wouldn't be able to get back up. I was taking care of children and unable to take care of children. Troy was doing everything. That was a huge begin again, learning to help heal my body holistically. And like, I was a nurse like for 10 years, and I believed in science, and I still believe in these things. I still believe in science. I still believe in taking medications, but like, it only does so much when people are like me, and like, we need more, and our body's not healing, doing any of that stuff, and we need to treat more holistically with like science. And so like, my frame of mind completely changed. Like, that changed me entirely, and I had a huge like 180 to like, let's meditate, let's do energy work, let's change the way I view healing. And so it's crazy. Mentally too, yeah. Okay, so having serious health conditions diagnosed, that can be a huge begin again moment for your life changing. Aging and physical ailments. So I feel like men who get close to their 40s, I'm tattling, get close to their 40s, have a huge issue with their identity, and like, they're not able to do as much physical labor all at once. They're not able to do, like, seeing their body age and not being able to do stuff as quickly as they used to, or not being able to accomplish as much as quickly as they used to. You know what I mean? Like, physically, like, not being able to like beat their bodies up as much as they used to. Even women, good morning, even women, like getting older and not being able to accomplish as much in a day as you used to because your body needs more rest, it needs more TLC, that can be a huge transition mentally that can make you begin again. Like being conscious of your body's aging, and like you have to accept it. Like if you're fighting against the aging process, like you're gonna lose because you're gonna age regardless. So I don't know, that's a huge mental hurdle, especially for men. I see a lot of people who have done like weight loss surgeries or the shots or whatnot, or maybe you're just on a fitness journey and you lost it more naturally. I don't know how to say that. But those people will never be the people they used to be. And those people end up with a huge like identity crisis. Who am I now that I don't have all of that weight? And so that's a huge begin again moment for those people. That's a huge transition, a huge change. Who am I now? Like, that's beginning again. If you've ever moved in your life, like, oh, sorry. If you've moved houses, if you've moved states, if you've like moved careers, if you've moved, those are huge transitions that are begin again moments. I went from family medicine in Pocatello to I went to family medicine in Blackfoot, and then I did wound therapy, and then I did an urgent care job. Like all of those things like are huge transitions for me where I began again, and it was scary. Like things that make us nervous and worried and scared and like give us fear because it's a transition. Those are moments where we pushed through and we began again. Who am I now that I don't cry and I'm not depressed? Yeah, exactly. When you're actually mentally stable, who are you now? I'm not mentally stable. Career changes, crisis of faith. A lot of people go through a crisis of faith where a lot of the times you're raised in a church setting and you're taught one thing your entire life, and then when you start thinking for yourself and investigating things for yourself, you kind of lose who you are for a moment, and you have to begin again by learning who you want to be and how you want to connect to spirit and how you want to be religious. I don't know how you want to connect. A crisis of faith. Me either. A lot of people can transition and begin again by finding their true purpose and why they are working towards things. So trying to find my true purpose. My true purpose is helping other people and helping other people on their healing journey. And I think when I didn't have that true purpose, like I probably led a lot with fear, and now that I've just let go of self-doubt and fear and embodied who I am, regardless of how weird and strange the stuff that I do is and how I can't scientifically back up everything, I know that I'm gifted. I know that I am connecting to spirit. I know that I help people heal, and I've found my true purpose. So when you find your true purpose, you never go back. I guess you could go backwards and forget your true purpose, but you stop living in fear. I'll never be that person that was back there hiding who I am. Pause due to poor connection. Instagram, get it together. Get it together, Instagram. recovering from addictions. This could be food addictions. This could be harder addictions. But that's gotta be dust, right? That was creepy looking. What time are we at? I can't look at it. I can't go back and look. Somebody time-stamped me so I could go back and look at that. But people who recover from addictions, that is a huge begin again. They have to learn to cope and be a person again. Not that they weren't a person, but they have to learn to be a better person. Thank you. I am thankful. I know. I cleansed the house and everything, so it's nothing bad. It's just a dust bunny, right? Recovering from addiction, and that's a lifelong beginning again mentally, physically, spiritually. Like, that's a whole nother crisis. Thanks, girl. Forgiving and letting go of trauma is beginning again. Like, when I was first battling my trauma, especially with like, why in the hell did I pick my parents? Like, why? Like, I used to think that all the time. And then, like, why did I have to be like tortured? Child going up, like, why? To 23 years of my life spent in that. Why? And I used to be so resentful, and sorry that the connection is being stupid over here. I used to be so resentful and so angry of the trauma that I went through. And then when I started getting more into my healing path, and I started to understand that like, my parents were so unhealed, and it doesn't give them the right to what they did to me. But I wish that they had known better, or learned more of how to let go of their trauma, or had more of a support system that helped lead them in the right direction and let them know that the things they were doing wasn't okay. I wish they could have fought their demons a little harder. But forgiving them and understanding that they're also human, it wasn't okay, but I forgive them. It doesn't mean I have to go back, because they are still not healed. They are still very selfish, toxic people. And I hope that one day when they're on the other side, that they're able to really, I feel like when we get on the other side, if we've had mental health issues, my spirit tells me that it's able to help cleanse that, and so that they're able to see things more clearly, and then actually really, really work on their traumas and the stuff that they didn't work on here on earth. I don't understand, but I do forgive. And I do know that even though I do forgive, I don't have to put myself in those situations anymore. And so now I've learned boundaries, and I've learned, like, I'll never go back to that person who just didn't have boundaries, because that hurts you in the end. If people are toxic and people are negative and they start giving you red flags, why are you going to wait till they stab you in the back? Ooh, distance, 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 run. No, I have learned my lesson. You have beat it into my head. I will let that go. I will never be that person again. I had to begin again and learn how to live life differently. It did push me into my purpose. It did. And then it helps me help other people, because I can be more empathetic to the things that people are going through. definitely. Being able to be more mindful of who you are, and like paying attention to the words that you speak, paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to all of the things that you put out into the world, and the ripple that you put out into your family, into the people around you. Like being more of a mindful human being, that helps us. That's a huge begin again. Like, because I know my words have power. I know that if I say negative things and hurtful things, I put that out there, it's a ripple, and the negativity collects negativity. But if I put out positivity and love and light, it ripples and it attracts positivity, and it makes my family more positive. It makes the people my family interact with more positive. And then the last thing that I had that I wrote down before I was like, that's enough. These feelings are enough. Is if you have ever had, if you've retired, that is a huge transition where you begin again and you learn to be a different person as a retired person, and sometimes you can lose your identity. So like that's a huge begin again moment for you. An empty nester, so if you don't have kids in your house anymore and you're going through that, that's a begin again. Who am I without my children living in my home? That's a huge begin again. Like starting this thought, this dang spiritual thought of the day, like I was like, I don't have that many begin agains, and then I have begin agains, and then I skipped the one I put in the middle of that, but parenthood is a huge begin again moment. Like, who am I as a parent? How do I discipline? How do I raise my children? How do I get rid of toxic generational curses that go on? How do I help my kids be better people and learn to love themselves from a young age? Like, parenthood is a huge begin again moment. And then, like, to mention that my son has autism, that was also, I guess that would go with like physical ailments or whatnot. Yeah, my kids are completely different. Like parenthood with one child, that's a big transition. Another child, every time you add a child, that's a huge transition. You get married, that's a begin again moment. Like you have began again so many times. Like it's crazy. The biggest thing that I want you to take about this spiritual message, if there is like a transition that you're fighting, if you're trying to begin again and do a new career, or if you're being pulled to move, if you're being pulled, even though things are scary, when I look back at the transitions that I had where I began again and I let go of fear and worry and I pushed through the challenges of beginning again in my life, like you look at those things and you are so much better for those transitions. They were hard. You had to learn to be a different person. You had to transition and find yourself again. Find who am I after this huge transition. But you are always able to begin again at any moment. So I'm going to read this spiritual message again. There will be times when you come as far as you can, when your heart is broken open and you see no way through. When those moments present themselves to you, sit quietly, courageously, feel what you feel, and then, only then, let go as gracefully as you can. Grace is knowing for certain that you will inevitably be hurt again, knowing just as certainly that you are strong, you are resilient, and all of this will make you more beautiful. It is only through our brokenness that our light can shine. You will begin again. We will have so many begin agains. Like, it's crazy. Like, I just named off like 12 different begin agains. There's so many different layers in all of those 12 things, and there's so many more things I didn't mention. You have had so many begin agains. I have had so many begin agains, and they were hard. Oh, they were hard. And I wouldn't want to go back to the moment of beginning again, but looking back, at how far we have come is amazing. And you all should be so proud of yourself for every time that you push through and began again. Such a silly spiritual message. Yes, we need to start a commune, where a little village out in the woods where we all can help raise our children and be kind and spread love and get away from all the toxic people. Okay, that's our spiritual message. I'm going to go make some more tea and put on a heating pack, and maybe I'll get motivated to clean the kids' rooms. But I love you guys, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and I hope that you really can take this message into your heart. And if you're fighting to begin again, and if you're fighting to transition and find yourself again, know that you can and will begin again. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.